All right, guys, we've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in the Texas area, especially the Dallas area. Let's take a zoomed out look of, this is a zoomed out look of Dallas and parts of Texas. Severe thunderstorm warning along Highway 20 moving east, and and in Dallas for sure, severe thunderstorm producing golf ball size hail about to move through Dallas. Let's take a zoomed out look in the rest of the state. We do have more severe thunderstorms over here in the northeast, and that is just moving out of the area. But the main thing that we're going to talk about are these severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's zoom in on the one in Dallas, and this is it right here. This is the one that we've got that updraft here. We're going to go to see a correlation coefficient to see exactly how large is this hail and what's it doing right now. And as it's moving towards the Dallas Fort Worth area, it is just south of Irving, inside Irving here, north of Highway 30 along this area. And yeah, if we can just draw a circle around here, this is what we're looking at, guys. This is where the largest hail is, and with that the greens and the blues and the yellows, it does look to be about an inch, 2.5 up to an inch and 3/4 here. And we're talking golf ball size hail in this area moving off to the east. Now I'm going to have Andrea put a track on this so that we can see exactly how long is it going to be until Dallas sees this hail and until that area starts to just move off into Dallas and Sunnyvale and parts of the outer parts of Dallas. So yeah, so we've got pretty good size hail north of Highway 30, south of Irving, moving toward the Dallas area. Okay, this is what our track looks like, and this is at 212, where the hail is going to be at Mesquite, and 225 Forney, and 234 McLendon, and Chisholm, Texas, and that will be moving off here in just the next about 20 to 25 minutes here in these areas. So yeah, we also have another severe thunderstorm warning over here in Wills Point, moving southeast toward Canton, moving along Highway 20, moving east, and that, let's put a CC on that to see what what the hail is. Okay, yeah, so this looks to be the same, about golf ball size hail along this area, starting to move off to the east, and we'll put a track on that to see how long it's going to take for it to get to any of these towns over here, moving at about 30 miles per hour. So it will arrive at Fruitville at about 2:13 here in about 25 minutes, and Grand Saline at 2:24. That is now producing golf ball size hail, up to golf ball size hail. Could be producing more here in the next couple of minutes. And yeah, that's starting to move off into the southeast or the northeast parts of Texas. And yeah, so with the environment that we're seeing today, these storms are going to come up. They're going to just kind of blow up today as we go through the peak heating time of the day. With these storms were just starting a couple minutes ago, and then the CCs just kind of got really big with hail. So we're going to go back to this Dallas storm, check in on our people in Dallas, and put a CC on that. We do have more behind it moving through the Fort Worth area, but that's not doing much right now in terms of hail or anything like that. And you're Dallas people, you're probably hearing lots of thunder, lightning. Stay indoors as this severe thunderstorm moves through the area, especially with the hail outside, and just be prepared for that. Stay safe. This is what our correlation, yeah, this is great zoomed in picture here. This is our correlation coefficient. This is how we can see the hail here, and this is Highway 30, Dallas. We can see some yellows and greens here. Isolated possible inch to an inch and a quarter of hail there. So that's about quarter size hail. And then over here, same place along Highway 30, we're seeing some blues, greens, yellows. This is some probably golf ball size hail, 1 inch to 3/4, maybe even closer to 2 inches possible in this area. And I do see some a hail icon over there. So let's go over there and see what that is, and look at CC. So this is a hail report over here. And let's see, what does that say over there? So yeah, 1 inch to 1.25 inches in Dallas at 1:50 this afternoon. This is the part with the higher DBZ, that's higher updraft. That's where the hail is at in this area. It's starting to move through the area. So if we can maybe put on CC again, maybe Irving over here is getting some. Okay, no, it's all east of Irving. So same thing here along Highway 30, moving east towards Dallas. We've got 1 inch, 1.25 inches, so almost golf ball size hail moving towards Dallas. And we've got greens and yellows here. So this is probably quarters over here, possibly in Dallas right now, starting to move through. This is what we're looking at right here. This is where the hail is at. This is just ground clutter over there where the storms are starting to break apart. But yeah, that is starting to move off into Dallas. And let's go, yeah, this is the circle here. And so let's move off into closer over here to the other side and see what these storms are doing. So this one's starting to pick up. We're seeing that DBZ start to get a little higher, which means that the updraft is getting higher. So that could be producing some hail soon, possibly moving still along with this track of storms moving east. But this is severe thunderstorm warned in Dallas, golf ball size, up to golf ball size hail moving into the Dallas metro area. This is like, again, this red, this is what we're looking at. This is the highest DBZ, right about to move through Dallas metro area along Highway 30, 35 and 30, moving off to the east and just south of University Park. So if we can maybe like zoom out just a little bit to see what the rest of these storms are doing. That one over there in Dallas is just trekking along towards Highway 30, along Highway 30, moving toward the Dallas metro area. And this one again, let's zoom in a bit on this one that was moving toward Minola here and see if that has changed since we've been over here. So yeah, still an inch, maybe an inch and a half at the most, 1.25 inches here. We see a bunch of yellows and some greens here in this area. That's what we're looking at. If we can maybe draw a circle around this, that's what we're looking at, and that's moving along Highway 20. Still about to hit Grand Saline is north of that, northeast of that, but yeah, not too large of hail in that, but still hail is, yeah, so you can see that yellow. We're, yeah, definitely 1 inch possible to 1.5 inches in that. So we maybe zoom back out again and go over to the Dallas area. So we still got that severe thunderstorm warning over in Dallas metro area, and it is starting to make its way into Dallas. Here it is, right? Okay, so this is where we're seeing that inch, maybe 1.5 inches of hail up to golf balls in Dallas right now, and even in Oak Cliff, south of Dallas and Oak Cliff along Highway 35. So if you are between Highway 30 and I-35 east, then Oak Cliff, then you're going to be seeing some hail here in this area if you're close to the Dallas downtown area.
Christine, we're getting reports in on radar scopes, so they're a little delayed on max, but the reports that are coming in on a radar scope are for like a quarter or so. So that was a little bit earlier near Cockrell Hill, but so far we're getting a lot of quarter reports out of this.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit delayed on our max, but yeah, you heard Andrea, we're seeing more quarters in this, and yeah, so it's definitely gone down since we first got on here. Earlier we were seeing reports of larger than that, but yeah, so quarters, maybe even, yeah, so quarters maybe yeah, so that's moving off into Dallas area, so not too large of hail anymore. So yeah, we're just moving off into Dallas area, and that will start to move towards Highway 45. So if you're anywhere, if you live anywhere along Highway 45, or you're in that area and you're anywhere that you are at is east of 35, then yeah, you're going to be hearing some thunder, seeing lightning, and possibly getting a quarter-size hail in this. And that is severe thunderstorm warning. Start at quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and of course lightning in that. And with these hazards, definitely stay indoors if you can at all possible. And did this just get expanded out to this cell right here? I'm not. Okay, yeah. I think this is a separate severe thunderstorm warning now, just south of Fort Worth.
And there are sub-severe reports on that one.
Yeah, it does look sub-severe, just now starting to produce, just now starting to go up. So we're not seeing anything too crazy with that storm right now. With this one, yeah, I just looked at CC, and it doesn't look like it's producing much right now, but it does have the possibilities and the capabilities of becoming more severe, and that's why it is included in that severe thunderstorm warning. But let's talk about where this is. So Everman, if you're in Everman, if you are just east of 35 West and Everman, this is what that warning entails. Yeah, that's just the wind speeds could be up to 50 miles per hour, and hail size could be up to an inch. Right now, we're not seeing an inch of hail right now in that, but that is possible. And yeah, so let's see, where is this heading? Is this going? So if you're in, so this is moving further east of 35. Okay, so yeah, if you're Forest Hill, you might miss this one as it moves east. It's south of you right now. So in Kendall, it'll get there at 2:08. It'll get to Southland Acres, 2:20. Florence Hill, 2:30. Cedar Hill at 2:36, and DeSoto at 2:46 p.m. this afternoon. That's the storm track on this, and it could be a completely different storm by the time it gets to some of those locations. That's not for a little bit. So yeah, definitely we'll keep our eyes on that. And going back to the storm in Dallas, so it looks like that quarter-size hail is starting to cross Highway 45. Yes, thank you. So it's starting to cross Highway 45, and we do have another report. Is this another report, a hail report over there in Irving? Not sure how accurate that is, given that the other one was only a quarter. But yeah, so, but in Dallas, yeah, well, the storms south of or west of Dallas could be producing hail pretty soon here in the next couple of minutes as it approaches Dallas. But yeah, the highest DBZ value is starting to cross Highway 45, and yeah, you'll probably be seeing quarter-size hail, maybe even a little larger than that here in the next couple of minutes if you are in that area. And so yeah, the worst of it is starting to move through Dallas, outside of Dallas here, outside of the Dallas downtown area, crossing Highway 45 and moving east and towards Mesquite. Yeah, so Mesquite, you're in the clear right now, sort of. You have some rain, but you're about to get those higher amounts of rain and DBZ, so you'll get more of that possible for quarter-size hail here in the next couple of minutes as this starts to move through and starts to go up Highway 30. So it's going to start moving off to the east, and you're going to get this next. So once that moves off, and yeah, you'll just be prepared to see thunder, lightning. Stay indoors if you hear thunder for sure, and of course that hail, you might get quarter-size hail in that area. But I need to take a water break. So Andrea is going to come up here and finish for me.
All right, guys. Yeah, we'll go ahead and switch off for a second, and I'll let you take your break, and I'll hop on up here. Might be a little tall. Let's see. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Yeah, so we've had this storm. I just had a conversation with our mapping team. We've been mapping quarters and half dollars on this storm as it passed just through the west of the Dallas metro area. Now it's in Dallas metro area, still been doing quarters. We've been seeing some smaller reports on the north end, so I think it's starting to cycle down now. But this thing went crazy just a minute ago. We were watching this at like no hail, like 30 minutes ago, and then it just blew up. Christine and I were actually doing some live coverage prep, and we were watching the storm, like, what's going on? And then the next frame, we were like, oh my gosh, we gotta go live now. So that's how quick these storms are blowing up in this environment. It's super high instability. If you guys were with us for the noon forecast, there is a ton of lift in the atmosphere right now. There is a ton of cooling in the atmosphere right now. So it's pretty primed for hail. And so this is gonna be the first round that Dallas will see today. Christine, can you go ahead and query that report just to the west of Dallas that came in? So far, things have been, again, quarters to maybe half dollars here and there, but I would not be surprised if this storm did a brief period of larger hail than that over the past, in between this little area, and it was probably very isolated. Again, this is quarters, Dallas County EOC, quarter-sized hail near I-30 and Hampton Road. And that's pretty much what it's done, is along I-30, it's been producing those quarters to half-dollar sized stones, making its way through Dallas. So not a 5-star out of this one, but some people are definitely hearing some rumbles of thunder and probably some noise as this hail hits you moving through now across I-45. And on the next update, we should see what it does. Now this one, it's still severe warned. I think it's on its way out. I'm a little more interested on what the one behind it is doing. So if you want to pan out to the west, see as that one goes, it's starting to taper off as it moves out of Dallas. But looking at the west, we got this Grand Prairie one trying to go up, and then we got this one south of Arlington that's trying to go up. And what's interesting about these storms is as you get further and further to the west, now we have more heat to work off of, right? So as we're working with these storms down to the south, it's got this whole clear environment out in front of it that it's going to help that storm try to form itself as it goes. We'll see what it can do. Again, so far sub-severe reports off of this guy and no reports yet off of Grand Prairie, and you can't really see any hail cores on these quite yet. They're trying to organize, but this is not the main show. The main show is coming later today. So this is just what we're watching at for right now. But again, this Dallas storm was the big deal for a few minutes as it produced that severe hail moving into the city. Now, let's take a zoom out and let's take a look at Texas and also Louisiana, because Shreveport and Texarkana have also been having a pretty loud evening with, I guess afternoon, it's only what, 2:09 p.m., but storms have been pretty loud making their way through East Texas and into Louisiana. And again, for a lot of these areas, you're gonna see multiple rounds of severe thunderstorms into today. So pan me over just a little bit out towards Louisiana. It should shift to, there you go, Shreveport radar. No severe warnings in effect right now, but take a look at all these guys that are trying to form through the region. Again, it's quiet right now. Now is not the time that we should see severe storms. Does this rain lower chances of storms reaching the convection energy? So that's an interesting question. So we've got these storms, yeah, that are moving through Dallas. Is that going to lower our chances? Usually you see those that rain-cooled air forming storms down to the south. And today, no hard feelings if you missed the forecast. That's not a big deal. But these storms should, yes, form storms down to the south. But now what we're expecting is splitting storms. So it's going to be kind of similar to what we saw yesterday. And it may or may not make it into Dallas. I don't want to promise you guys anything for today because those splitting storms and their track are fairly unpredictable. But pan me a little bit more towards Dallas, Christine. We're expecting to see some storms now forming down to the south and east of Dallas, and those will split. And so some will head towards Waco, some will head towards DFW as they split later today, and that will be affected by where the outflow or the cooler air from this storm forms into this afternoon. So I love that question, love the meteorology of it. But yes, this shouldn't make your chances for tonight 0, but it definitely, cools the air, and I know that does tend to hurt your severe thunderstorm chances. But again, storms will be tracking into the city from this environment that's still real nice and ready for thunderstorms into today. So I guess let's just zoom in one more time into this Dallas storm as well as Arlington, see what they're doing. They've been fizzling out, not looking too impressive at this point in time. Still not looking super impressive. Go ahead and pull up a CC scope. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, it's looking sub-severe, maybe a quarter or two left in this. It's kind of breathing its last breath as it heads towards Mesquite. So if you're in Mesquite, and also for Arlington, Grand Prairie area, it's not a lot of activity for severe hail. But if we switch back to reflectivity again, if you guys are in Mesquite, now you're getting into the front precip band, or precip shield as we call it. Basically, it's just where that heavy rain starts. You're getting into that in Mesquite, starting to probably see those rumbles of thunder picking up, getting real dark out there, and it should continue. Mesquite, you're in the beginning of it, but Dallas, you're out of the worst of it. And it looks like they just issued a destructive tag on the storm. So go ahead, these bars are just when the Weather Service deems it a destructive storm. So let's query that thunderstorm warning, and Christine, let me know what they're warning that for. We'll stand by. All right. Golf ball sized hail. Still not really any wind threat on that for Dallas, Garland, Grand Prairie, and Irving on this storm. So does it say anything in that warning text, Christine, that would indicate like destructive on it? You see anything that stands out to you on that?
No, it just says hazard, golf ball size hail.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much reiterates what's on
well,
here.
Well, it does say people and animals outdoors will be injured. So yeah, maybe that's.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's, guys, if thunder roars, go indoors. That's what we like to say as meteorologists. Now's not the time to be out and about if you guys are in Mesquite. If you're in any of those areas through DFW, I know that us Midwesterners tend to go, oh, and like wander out to our porches and look at this stuff when it happens. But wait inside, stay away from windows if there is a hail threat. You know, just stay safe out there. But yes, this storm, I think, is on its way out. Let's take a look, clear that off, and let's take a look at what this storm that was near Grand Prairie is doing as it heads this way. It's really not looking super impressive right now, but we'll wait until it's in and out of the city. As always, I'll stay with you guys until we get out of there. I think that's the same warning as this one is, but yeah, it's not a ton of hail on that. You can go ahead and clear that off. Let's see the correlation coefficients around there. Still not a ton. Let's start querying some of these though, because I think some of these reports are new. Let's see, $50, we saw that one. Shady Grove Road and Story Road intersection. I think a lot of these are gonna be $50. Let's see, what's this one? Ooh, there we go. There's our orange swath, ping pong balls out of that social media image too. 2 miles northwest of Cockrell Hill. So there you have it, folks. Yeah, it's been hailing. Now, if we switch to reflectivity, Christine, I'm gonna throw something at you. Do you see where there's a timeline at the top of the live coverage bar, and it has like a little red like marker bar that you can kind of drag back and forth? Can you try to drag that back, and it'll kind of show us the progression of the storm? All right, sweet. So now we're going back in time. Let's go to when this storm developed. I want to talk about that a little bit. And you guys will see how quickly this blew up. And it's going to be like that too, but now it's going to be to the south. So in like south and west of Dallas by a little bit. Okay, watch this. Here we are at 134. Let's go forward a couple frames. 135, 36, and it's moving minute by minute, so that's real slow. It's not giving the effect. Okay, but there we go. Okay, 134 to 146 minutes. This storm went from 0 to something, and then a few minutes later, let's keep panning it forward. This is the point that Christine and I both were like, oh. And so it blew up out of nowhere. At 10 minutes, this storm was up and producing hail, moving into the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, and we're going to see a lot more of that into this afternoon and evening with these storms tracking off to the east. So let's get things to current. And again, you can see where it did all that hail along I-30, and now is tapering off near Mesquite. Things are picking up if you guys are there. Let's get some roads. If we go ahead and zoom on into Mesquite, see what's up with that. You can, if you zoom in really far, it'll get you roads. So, all right, here we go. So if you can read those, Christine, or if there's a name on them, you let me know. I can't super read that from here. Okay. But it looks like that's Thornton Service Road along here, and then into I-80. And then I imagine this is another service road that connects between 30 and 175 there. And I see the little box zooming in and out. You're good. Just roll with it. And so right along this road, I wish we had a name, guys, but it's between 30 and 175 just before you get into Balch Springs and Mesquite. That's where you're going to see maximum conditions right now. So the largest hail, probably still subsevere. Maybe peas, maybe a couple of half-inch stones. But yeah, looks like there's a whole mess of places over here. Military Parkway, between that and Jenny Lee Lane. That's where we're going to have the most hail and the largest hail as well, though again, it's still subsevere. So if you guys are hearing that thundering around on the roof, drop in the comments what you're seeing and where. Let us know what you guys are seeing at the ground. We got our radar view here. We got our mapping team updating us on what they're doing, and you guys update us from the ground if you can safely do so. Don't be a hero. Don't run around outside. But yeah, if you know this storm is past and you got any hail, let us know. But this is where we've got the remnants of our hail core for right now. So zooming back on out at everything, we'll take a look a little bit at our setup. Storm's trying to collect itself, but now they're running into each other, and it's just a whole mess. We dropped the warning here on I-20, and still nothing left going on in Texarkana, so we'll give this another 5 minutes or so, let it move out of Texas, or out of DFW. It'd take a lot longer for things to move out of Texas, but we'll let it move out of the area and just make sure nothing else is happening. I think we did get a hail report, though, on this one in Arlington. So let's see if we got any severe hail on that. When they're right up close to the radar, we get really low resolution on these storms. So it's a little bit tougher when it's over that close. But again, these reports help us out a ton, so you guys can help with these reports. So let's go ahead and zoom on in there and get that queried. And you can, yeah, just go ahead and zoom it on in, and we'll take a look at what we've got down by now Mansfield. Mansfield yet again.
Sorry, guys.
You're good. Yeah, down by Mansfield in yesterday. That was one of the hardest hit areas from yesterday's 5-star map. Got a ton of pictures of those spiky baseballs down through that area, and now we've got more heading through Forest Hill and just north of the area. So there we go. Quarters. We'll move out of the way there, but quarter-size hail at I-20 and Little Road, and then what's the one just south of that? The one just south of that, ping pong balls, and it does not say where. So let's go ahead and roll it back a little bit over there. I know it's pretty hard to see a hail core when you got so much lack of resolution, but let's pass it back and we can take a look and we'll let you know if things are still looking like they might be going on as they head just north of Mansfield. Are you able to roll back the timeline? All right. So let's see. All right, so there's basically just a dead patch of cells. And what happens is our radar is in between a bunch of buildings, and so that gets in the way of the beam and just a bunch of weather terms. But roll it a little bit towards Forest Hill, and we'll take a look, because we did get some confirmed hail off of that. So you see those reflectivity values starting to come up, and then as it goes east, again, starting to come up a little bit more. Not looking like a classic cell, but we do see a little bit of an uptick in our reflectivity values there. And if we go to correlation coefficient, can we see if there's any yellows and greens that are starting to pop up? You're getting pockets of it. And then go forward one more frame. Let's see what it's doing as it moves east. Okay, and so what's this area here on reflectivity? Is that anything? Okay, yeah. So it looks like this is probably where we're going to get the biggest drop in correlation coefficient values and the biggest raise in our hail size values. So as it continues to pass east, so it looks like it did the largest hail here, and then let's go a little bit, I guess let's get it current and move to the now. Let's see what the storm is doing as we go. So it's starting to move out of that tricky zone, and we see this whole south end is getting a little stronger. We've got, it looks like a little hail core on what's trying to be a hook on the storm. You get that inflow moving in, and then, you know, that helps lift that storm up. When you get it pulling all that air up into it, that raises the air that's inside of the storm, because it's got to go somewhere. And so we get larger hail forming just down to the south here and on the south end of our storm. So pull up correlation coefficient on this one, and let's take a look. You got a little lowering in CCs here. So I think it's dropping some pretty big hail in that hook and kind of spitting it up towards the front of the storm. So I'm still thinking quarters 2 half-dollars and very isolated ping pong balls on this one, kind of similar to our Dallas storm where the biggest hail is going to be isolated on it. But yeah, it looks like we got another hail producer heading out of Mansfield right now. So let's take a look at our Grand Prairie and Dallas storm and see what's what up to our northeast. Things should be moving. Okay, so we got a couple cells moving into Dallas, and then we've got the main one that was producing hail earlier heading out of Mesquite, still maintaining that hail core on it, trying to continue with that severe hail. And if we put, you know, a correlation coefficient scope or just pull up our CCs on that, yeah, I mean, it's doing now ping pong golf ball size stones there, but it should be getting more, hopefully more rural. Not super familiar with the east side of DFW, but I believe this is more rural as it gets past Mesquite, heading towards Forney. So we've got orange swath from hail trace standards, ping pong to golf ball as it's heading out that way, nearing the Forney area. And then zooming a little further out, they extended that damage warning out through like Terrell and like Segoville area, and it looks to be for this storm that they're extending that out. Everything else through Dallas right now should be smaller, sub-severe, and I don't see anything that indicates even 1 inch on our correlation coefficient right now. So the biggest thing was those couple of storms that passed through Dallas and into Mesquite, and then that passed just between Arlington and Mansfield there with that large hail. So we'll wait for another radar frame update. Again, I'm gonna stick around until you guys are in the clear for now, and we'll let you guys know what happens as the evening goes on. But 2 5-star maps for Dallas in the past couple of days. DFW, this is not your season. This is Minneapolis, Chicago season, but here we are in Dallas-Fort Worth just because of the pattern and the way it's been set up for the past few days, and so it's been back-to-back-to-back storms in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. I know a lot of our roofers are glad that their season's not over, and for our viewers that are just residents out there, we're going to keep you guys informed as well and let you guys know when the season truly looks like it's on the downhill trend. Let's take a full-on view. Let's go to reflectivity and just look at the region and see what's going on. And then I want to see another report in there, so I want to go ahead and look at that in a second. But still no severe warnings through Louisiana or Texarkana area anymore. Looks like the only name of the game is going to be through our Dallas storms right now as those track off to the east. And then once those are out, again, things are expected to initiate once again to the south and track splitting storms northeast.
There's a new one now.
And then southwest. There's a new warning. Oh yeah, they just issued a new warning on this. I believe this is pretty rural. This should be through like the Tyler Longview area. If it does hit anything, we can go ahead and zoom in on it and let you guys know what's happening. And I may miss Tyler Longview. Yeah, so okay, it's just north of Tyler. So okay. So this looks interesting because my guess is, just from looking at it real quick, that this storm did split. So let's roll it back and see if it did. You can go back in time a little bit. Yeah, okay. So that's interesting. This is kind of the pattern that we're going to be seeing into this afternoon. If you roll it back and forward a few times, Christine, just so they can see, but watch this cell start to kind of come apart as it moves towards Mineola and Lindale. You'll see it start to kind of form into 2 cells, and see, there it goes. There it goes. As it moves into Grand Saline, into Mineola, this one cell starts to strengthen into 2 and split apart. And that's what we're expecting into this afternoon. Now with these splitting cells, if you guys are weather buffs and you want to know, you usually see the south end kind of maintain its strength because it's staying in those good conditions. This north end starts to weaken a little bit as it heads towards typically cooler conditions, right? Yesterday, it headed straight towards the Dallas heat island. So it didn't have to slow down any. So we're watching for this into today, watching these south split, north split storms, see what happens here. But let's go ahead and get a correlation coefficient scope just to the north of Van and see what we might have on this. And that's heading towards Lindale and then Winona after that, heading out of Van. And it looks like we do have some large hail on that. So probably in the like $half to maybe up to golf balls, very isolated range in here where those green and yellow correlation coefficients are lying. So back to reflectivity real quick. Here's again the hail core on our storm where you start to see those reflectivity values brighten. and that's going to head off to the east. These storms are moving 30, 35 miles an hour pretty consistently across the board here. So it should be in Lindale soon. You guys are starting to see that light rain. It's going to pick up in a few minutes as this cell heads through. There is potential that it'll strengthen, so if you guys are in the Lindale area, stay tuned to that storm. But let's pop back on over to the DFW metro. I know there was a new storm report that came in. I think this one is trying to fall apart still. It's not really sure whether to strengthen or not, but I think it's on its way out. And let's move off to the east, or I guess to the west a little bit. Let's pull it east and go west and see what this Mansfield report has. And again, this is kind of the same area that got hit from the 5-star into yesterday, and they're seeing even more hail today. So there you go, some quarters. Not anything to write home about, but it is enough to reach severe thresholds and get us a report on the map here with this storm. And I think, again, correlation coefficients starting to kind of die down. These storms are moving out. So with that, let's give one last shot at correlation coefficient scope. Just make sure we didn't miss anything. And then, yeah, so we've got a lot of subsevere conditions, heavy rain, thunder, and that hail is now moving eastward towards Terrell right now, with, again, potential for ping pong golf ball sized stones pretty consistently through this one as it tracks off to the east. So since we are out of the DFW metro area, I will go ahead and let you guys get back to your workday here. If anything else does hit any of those large metros, Shreveport, DFW, Waco, we will let you guys know. We will cover it. So stay tuned to all of our pages, Facebook, TikTok as well, YouTube. That's where we go live most consistently. But we also post on our Instagram and Facebook stories to let you guys know when we get an upper level map or if anything crazy happens. So go ahead and follow us there. And again, if you guys have any questions or want to buy any of our maps from the past couple of days, the phone number is 855-334-4245. Email address is info@hailtrace.com. And our website is hailtrace.com. So pretty easy to find us. And we will be back if more coverage is needed. If you guys are in that severe storm watch area, or if you're in any of those severe weather warnings, it's time to get indoors. Stay safe. Stay tuned to your alerts, and we'll be back if more is needed. But for now, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers, and this has been meteorologist Christine Gormley as well. And thank you guys for watching.